Hello, hello, hello. It is so good to be back in feeling good, in feeling connected, feeling ready to get back to the YouTubey thing. So I'm so excited to be back with you. And today is one of my seasonal readings. I've started also including some guides, and it's like an ebook that's a guide, a journal. Um, Card spread, all that kind of stuff. That's going to be over on my website. And I will tell you at the end how to get your Mercury retrograde one for this go round and for the future ones. Anyway, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you don't know who I am and this is your first time joining, ooh, my hair is kind of crazy. I did wash it. Yay. um, if this is your first time joining, I'm Soul Coach Michelle. Welcome to my channel where we spiritually, practically, without any glitter covered BS, talk about manifesting and all things metaphysical. So I am so excited for you to be here. I am your friendly neighborhood super woo and co-creative life coach. And today we're going to talk about the Mercury retrograde happening beginning, I believe it is September 9th officially to October 2nd, but we're also going to talk about the pre-shadow, the actual, and the post-shadow, because there's all the things. Plus, there have been so many things going on cosmically that the energy, whether it's solar flares or big outer planets going retrograde or inner planets going retrograde or moons changing, all this stuff, portals, all the business. So if you have been feeling a little overwhelmed energetically lately with a lot of change and shifting, don't worry, you're not alone. And I love you and I'm sending you healing love, and know that that's all there. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in. We're going to talk about how Mercury retrograde is not a hide your kids, hide your wife experience, that it is an invitation and an opportunity for us to go a little bit deeper and for us to have that healing experience on the individual level, but also through the collective. And let's see, I got my comments set up. Yay. So if you are signed in, the way to have a comment and say hello and all this kind of stuff, if you're watching YouTube, is to make sure you're signed in and you have subscribed and click the bell. Okay. So that you know when I'm live. And also the googly thing that runs the YouTubes knows who you are and will let you post a comment. So I can see it. So who do I see this morning? I feel like I'm on Romper Room. Who do I see this morning? I see Alicia. I see Katie. Hello, ladies. Welcome. I'm so excited you're here. Thank you for coming and hanging out. Let's first things first, before we get started with the card reading, I do want to kind of go over the energy. So like I always say, I am not an official astrologer. I have not been schooled formally. I know just enough to be dangerous, but I do see energy. I channel from source and I write all this stuff out so that you can have it. And I'm going to share with you today and then tell you how you can grab all this stuff for yourself, so that you can actually do a reading with all this information for you versus just this one is for the collective, by the way. And if you want to get together and do a reading together, we can do that too. But I want to give you all the options. So first things first, let's talk about what are the dates so you can mark your calendars, okay? So pre-shadow starts on the 26th, which is Friday, which is why we're doing this today, even though like most people are focused on the new moon on I guess Saturday, but it would be, the song is Sunday, whatever. Anyway, so pre-shadow 26, which is Friday to September 8th. What that is occurring in Virgo. So I'll go into what that means in a minute. And oh my Lord, of course, in Tennessee, my nose is getting drippy. Sorry. How grody, right? Anyway, so then retrograde is going to be September 9th to October 2nd, right through my birthday every effing year, y'all. Begins in Libra, which is an air sign, and then goes, which is all think, and thoughts become things. So be mindful. And then back through Virgo on the 23rd of September to the end of the experience there in October, which is an earth sign. So what this is thoughts become things. So air into earth, thoughts manifest. So watch what we're doing, and we'll talk about what those thoughts might be focused on here in a second. Your post shadow is October 3rd to October 16th. This is going to be happening in Libra because that's when Mercury will start going direct. Now, really quick, Mercury is the planet of communication. I was a mass comm major, so I will list out all the things that I think are important communication modalities of communication that will probably be affected here at the end, and go into that. So let's talk about the themes, right? So if the pre-shadow is in Virgo, what will happen during pre-shadow is you're going to start seeing things pop up. So be on the lookout. Put your woo-woo glasses on so that you can kind of see the energy that's going on around you. Okay. And start looking for, and so we're in analyzation mode because you're in Virgo. So we're going to look for, we're going to analyze, we're going to look for details, we're going to look for all the things. Where are imbalances in your relationships happening? Because since we're heading, Virgo is about analyzation, but the actual retrograde will go in Libra, which is relationships, and Mercury is about communication. So the the interesting thing that I'm finding energetically is where are the imbalances in relationships starting to show. So you're going to start seeing some cracks where you may have been ignoring things that have been out of balance, whether it's too much give on one end and too much take on the other, too much energy being given or taken, that kind of thing, or even in a sense of I'm hanging out with people for maybe not the most honest reasons, or the most like where am I still integrity with myself when I leave an experience with somebody, and am I feeling out of whack, am I feeling aligned, or am I rejoiced? Because the thing is, when you start noticing where do I feel out of whack, something's not right here, pay attention to that, especially in the next 2 weeks. Okay. And it could be imbalances within self where you're saying yes to a lot of shit that you really ought to be saying no to, because when we say no to others, external stuff, we can say yes to ourselves and create more balance for self. Okay. So that pre shadow is going to be focused on analyzation, observing what is going on. Like think of it, I'm in Virgo zone, which I'm a Virgo, so I this will be pretty easy. I'll be nitpicking everything. Just be looking around, and if something pops out, don't look like, "Oh my god, I have to find all the things." But if you start feeling in the body something ain't right, ask self, "Okay, what is that imbalance about? What relationship is that about? Is it about a person? Is it about my work? Is it about something where I'm out of integrity with myself?" Ask yourself, in that gut feeling or that heart centered feeling when it doesn't feel right, when you're experiencing something over the next 2 weeks, what's that about? And then just kind of take note, write it down in your journal. Okay. Then the retrograde happens. So after the pre shadow kind of is like the pre show, it's the previews and the movies. Hey, look what's coming. And then the retrograde is the actual movie. Let's look at it that way. And so your pre-shadow observations and analyzations will come in handy because you'll have a notebook full of your observations of where you need to do the work. And the retrograde is where work happens. Okay. So what'll happen is it'll kind of have the actual experiences will come to light, kind of personifying these observations that you've had, so that you can either be a witness or a participant or an observer. It's really up to you where how you do things. I would encourage trying to stay in observer mode. Retrograde kind of makes us feel agitated, so we might be a little bit more um, vulnerable to being in participation mode. Lots of P's. Um, but when you start realizing you're engaging in behavior that's not comfortable, if you can take a step back and go into observer mode and say, "Ooh, okay, this is something's out of balance here. What's going on?" And this is going to be the first half of retrograde. There's 2 parts. Yay! Um, so that first half is going to be these experiences where you can either be engaging in them and participating, or you're going to be observing and saying, but we're human beings. We're not like Buddha under the fig tree. So yeah, you might have the participation happen and then the observation and then note taking. And don't worry, we're going to do a card reading at the end with some journal prompts and stuff so that you'll have all this. But for the collective, but again, I'll give you a way to do it for yourself too. Um, so the experiences will then come to light and give you that opportunity and invitation to engage with them in whatever way feels good. So, but again, this is choices, choices. You can even say no to the invitation, but honey, let me tell you, there's one more retrograde coming to at the end of the year. So you may want to start now if you haven't participated in the last 2. We have 4 this year. Lord have mercy. You'd think we'd get a break after the last 2 years, but Lord have mercy. No, we don't. We got to go through this one and another one. So let's get the shit done and handled so we can be much more expanded, loving, ascended folks. And because it'll be much funner, bad grammar, funner. Anyway, so but that's the first hair. Then when you first half. So then when you shift into the Virgo half, which starts on the 23rd. I know it sounds kind of wonky that like, the first half technically we're in Virgo season, because hello birthday month coming up, you know. But because it's retrograde, it's flippy floppied. So on the 23rd of September, when the zodiac moves into Libra, retrograde Mercury retrogrades back through Virgo until the end, until October. So from the 23rd of September to I think what did we say it was to October 2nd. Um, you're gonna be invited by the energy that's been going on, and all of the stories you have witnessed or participated in with other folks in the relationships between each other and with yourself, like because really it comes down to we talk about its relationships with each other and stuff, and other, like whether it's romantic relationships, family relationships, work relationship, friendships. But the fact is that if we're creating the experience for ourselves, it really comes back to our relationship with ourselves and how we're managing those relationships within us. Okay. So, from that perspective, as you go into that Virgo energy on the 23rd of September with the retrograde, it'll be more about internalization. What did I just see? Like, what was it? Mel B on America's Got Talent, when she was on there, she'd be like, "What just happened?" Okay, so that might be what's going on, but it might also be like, okay, let me gather my notes, start at get into whatever Virgo-ness you got in your chart and start analyzing the shit out of this stuff, okay? And start kind of saying, okay, I'm going to sort. I'm going to see what is serving me and what is not, because Virgo is about service, how I do service, how I service for myself, okay? So the invitation here, once you kind of go through all of your notes from the first half of retrograde, where you had the experience of the balance or imbalance in all the relationships in your life, we're going to start saying, okay, where do I need to? Maybe this person isn't in my corner. They gotta go. Maybe this other person who I interacted, who's relatively new, they seem like maybe I need to explore that a little bit more. Where maybe I need to start saying no to too many social engagements, or no to too many work engagements, or set some boundaries around my work day. Even if when you're working with somebody else, maybe it's time I have a conversation about I don't work beyond this, or on the regular, maybe in a pinch, but only this time to this time. That's when I work and I take a lunch, because that's healthy and that's where I know I will thrive and be more productive for myself and for others. It might be if you're an entrepreneur, I work from here to here and that's it. None more of this like everybody comes and goes whenever they want. Because what I think is this whole thing is going to be around is really how am I managing my energy so that when I shine my light, I show up 100% for myself, for the ones that I love, for the people that I love, all this kind of thing. Okay. So during that Virgo y retrograde time, lots of analyzation, planning, strategy. How am I going to do this? Oh, this is what's going on. So, what do I want to do as far as like what changes do I want to make that would be more in line with what I need and be of service to myself? And then what's my plan of action? Because retrograde is great for setting up plans, not for executing, for setting them in place. So you might find yourself, I need to rearrange my appointment calendar so that it is reflective of this new idea of boundaries for me. And so you might go ahead and do that kind of thing, but you don't launch it to your clients or your customers until after the retrograde is over, preferably after the 16th of October. But if you can't, they're in the shadow is kind of okay because it's like loose ends and whatever. Anyway, so that kind of stuff. So I did say an example here. So when we talk about, said, here's the other thing I did want to address because I'm not my notes over here, because I feel like we talk a lot in the coaching realm and in the woo woo realm about boundaries. And a lot of times the boundaries are with other people. But here's the funny thing, if we are the creators of our own experience, right? Then if I'm telling other folks, oh, I need more white space on my calendar, meaning I need more time for myself so that I can self nurture, self care, do the things I want to do, go to the grocery store. Self care isn't just mani pedis. It might be, I want to cook myself a really good dinner and I need time for that. So, no, I cannot hang out with you until all hours, you know, or just saying no to others so that you can say yes to self. Now, here's the funny thing, you can do this, and your peeps, once you kind of go through this kind of sorting and you really have a good circle of peeps, your peeps will be like, cool, that's fine, whatever. But here's the other thing, they may not realize that even though all of them are out there, they all might be saying, hey, do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And you said, I need time on the calendar. So they're saying, okay, well, I respect your boundaries. And whenever you say no, I'm cool with that. But if you don't say no and you continue to fill in your calendar so there is no white space, that's you not keeping in integrity with yourself and you not holding up your end of the boundary. Because if you're saying, I need to put a boundary in place that says, I may say no because I need to make sure there's time for me. That doesn't mean people aren't going to stop calling you to hang out or do things or request your presence somewhere. What it means is you have to start taking an inventory when someone asks you and saying yes or no. If I need more time for me, if I look at the calendar and I'm like, there's not enough white space, I have to say no to this, or I have to go and kind of say, what do I want to get rid of? Because I really can't do all these things and still feel balanced. So remember, Libra is about balance and Virgo is about service. So being in service to your balance is what this is all about, and what the lessons will come forward in the relationships, and how you are creating balance for yourself in service to self. Okay. And then post shadow, I always call it like tying up the loose ends, not in the mafia sense, in the real sense. um Anything that might pop up as like unresolved stuff that happened, you might see exes pop up, you might see old bosses pop up. Like, everyone thinks it's all about ex-boyfriends and when Libra shows up, romance, but it's not. It's all the relationships. It might be old family members that you don't talk to very often, have unresolved issues. It might be old friends, it might be exes, it might be old bosses, it might be old jobs, it might be old business partners. Who the f knows? But here's the thing, the cool part of the retrograde is once you get to the post shadow and things like that, kind of like that cleanup happens, you already have processed everything. If you said yes to the lessons, already processed all the things. So you have a plan of action of how to navigate these last little loose ends, and then also putting in place how you're going to move forward once Mercury fully goes direct on the 16th. Okay. So that's kind of the energy that we're going to kind of lay the cards on top of for the collective. And just so that you are aware, as far as from the more general front that everybody talks about, I'm definitely, and this is more community, because I am finding my Roku is acting like a shit show. My computer, I have like documents everywhere that I got to make sure I clean out. My email, like, I haven't been getting emails from clients. So if you're a client and you've been sending me an email, please use Voxer like we're supposed to, because I don't know what's going on with my email. Anyway, but what I did was I made a quick list, because I always joke and I say, well, I do have a bachelor's in mass comm, so I might as well use it, especially during Mercury retrograde. And I also have degrees in philosophy and general practice law. So, this is like where all of my education in the muggle world kind of can blend really nicely with the woo woo stuff, because all of that stuff is affected during Mercury retrograde. So, under communication, let's remember it's not just phone calls, okay, or emails, but remember computers, tablets, cell phones, any of those things you communicate with, like literally, those might be affected. So, like 1 year, all my contacts just poof gone. And then next thing you know, the minute Mercury, 2 days after Mercury retrograde ends, they come right back. I just have stopped asking questions. I just kind of just go, okay, so this is how we're going to do this. All right. But to be prepared, maybe back up your computer, back up all your smart devices like your tablets and your smartphones. Make sure there's room on your Google Drive, your iCloud, wherever you back your shit up to, that kind of thing. And just clean all your shit up. Like, go through your desktop, go through your folders, delete shit that doesn't need to be there so that there's not any sort of way that we are contributing to the clusterfuck. Okay. Then the other things that you might not think about so much that you want to make sure are kind of working okay before we head into this over the next couple of days. Smart devices like televisions, because now we have smart TVs, we have smart washers and dryers, smart microwaves. Like, you can decide to tell your oven to cook your dinner before you even get to the house. So make sure all of this stuff has all the updates they're supposed to have before you get going into this, okay? And make sure they are okay. Because, like I said, my streaming boxes, one of them is just acting like there's like something crawled up in there and is all just whatever. If you're an online teacher like me, make sure your platforms, whether you're using Podia, Udemy, or some other thing, or maybe your website if you're using Wix or Squarespace or WordPress or any place where you are showing up online, make sure go in there, everything's backed up, stuff is where it's supposed to be, so that it'll make life a lot easier. Clean up and sort your email. If you can get to inbox 0 before Friday, more power to you, because the fact is that that stuff will get a little clustery. It'll be a lot easier to sort through things if you can get that done. Also, and keep it that way if you can. Keep organized until October 16th in your email. Then you can go back to being an email clusterfuck if you want to. If you can help it, if you're don't start, draft, sign contracts. You can do contract summaries, you can do negotiations, you can do all the things, but if you can help it, because I know I used to work in contracts, so I know that a lot of times you can't really go to your lawyer and be like, "Hey, dude, yeah, Mercury retrograde, we shouldn't sign this." He'd look at you, or she'd look at you and be like, "What?" So if you do have to sign contracts, go over it 4 and 5 times, as many times as you need to. Check all your details so that when Mercury retrograde goes direct, you don't have stuff unwinding. But here's the great part: if you are a contracts person, fear not. There's always a Scrivener's note amendment, there's always amendments. So I would encourage you to be very detail oriented, but also don't freak out, because you can always go back and do Scrivener amendments and other amendments if you need to, if things are signed and then things get a little wonky when things go direct at the end of this. Um, don't accept or break engagements, or don't make engagements if you're a dude watching this, because why? It's another contract. Unless, and here's the caveat, um, that if you have been planning it all along, then you can proceed. But again, watch out for stuff unwinding at the end when it goes direct. So be really clear. So here's another thing: always be very clear. Direct communication is best. Do not beat around the bush. Do not be passive aggressive, because things will blow up in your face. Because when you are doing stuff that is not direct during Mercury retrograde, it's going to be a mess. So stop living in fear and being like, "Oh, I don't want to hurt feelings." Say what you got to say and get on with it, because it's about relationships anyway. So you might as well call it like you see it and then see where the chips fall. Okay. And that's just my advice to you. But contracts are the reason contracts are affected. Engagements are contracts, legal contracts, cell phone contracts, all the fun shit. The fact is that they are a method of communicating, how two parties or people mutually agree to navigate their relationship. So see how this can be troublesome, considering Mercury is over communications. That's why contracts are lumped in with the communications clusterfuckery that goes on during retrograde. Also, when you have the brilliant idea during retrograde, write it down, plan it, kind of do a mind map around it. Do not execute it. Save that for when things go direct, because things may come unclouded and unmuddied when you go direct, and you might either have a renovation to that idea, or you might be like, "What the fuck was I thinking?" So make sure, and plus there's this whole like Mars and retrograde and Gemini coming up. That's a whole nother monkey. We won't even talk about that. That is too much to think about right now. Just focus on this. Anyway, so let's see. Let me make sure I got everything. Um, oh, lastly, before we pull the cards out, remember, retrograde means going back over it. So any feeling of, forward motion that we always get is going to slow down or feel like it's at a glacial pace or stopped altogether. Please, I encourage you. I know it's frustrating. Do not look at this and get all upset and in resistance, because that'll just make it worse. Rather maybe see it as a much needed break. And instead of trying to multitask your healing journey with all the other life shit going on and trying to move shit forward, let the retrograde give you that gift of slowing down, of saying, I get to do one thing at a time. So I'm going to focus on this, say yes to that slower pace and giving yourself permission to that so that you can focus on being present for yourself, present for your journey, and present for the healing in a way that works with the retrograde versus against it. Okay. So, with all of that said, and that actually, all my notes from that will be included in the offering at the end. I am going to let me pull this up. Okay, so I learned how to share my screen, y'all. Isn't this fabulous? Now hopefully I won't mess this up. So I'm gonna share this screen over here just so you can see really quick. So what we're gonna do is this spread. Okay, now mind you, notice over here on the left here, there's all these pages. Okay. This is like a 22-page book that I wrote specifically to help folks navigate any Mercury retrograde. And then here you'll see there's like little workbook pages. There's the spread. Here's some note workbook pages and stuff, and some journal prompts and some other crap. I mean, juicy delights that you will be able to use this, so it's a guide and an activity book all in one. And I will let you know how you can grab yours after we're done. But this is how we're going to do this. So here's my other thing. Since we're going to be in the two different things, but there is the overarching theme of being of service to self and creating balance for self, we're going to approach it from that viewpoint. Okay. So card number one will be, what opportunity will this Mercury retrograde bring into my awareness? Then what energy will this Mercury retrograde bring more specifically? And this is all for the collective. Now, when you get this and you do your card layout for yourself, you can apply, again, like I said, I explain the energy and we're going to lay the cards for the collective on top of the energy, like more specifically, what will we be witnessing going on around us through this Mercury? What's the weather going to look like? So we kind of painted, like, Bob Ross, we painted the tiny little trees, and now we're going to see what the weather's going to look like that we're going to be going through. So, and then what lessons do I need to review during this retrograde? What lessons need more reworking during the Mercury retrograde? And what am I not seeing? This is a big one. I always like this one because it kind of like lays it out front and center what you're ignoring and need to focus on. And then what inspired actions can I take to a grateful Mercury retrograde? So this is for the collective. So like I said, we just painted our Bob Ross picture. Then we're gonna see what is the collective weather. And then you on your own, if you want to grab this guide here, can sit down and say, okay, I want to do my personal spread for this retrograde and see how that rolls as far as how I'm going to navigate the weather and the landscape. So like, it's summertime here in the US, so it's hot as fuck in Tennessee. So I'm like, I'm obviously not going to go out in my landscape when the weather is hot, humid, and disgusting. I mean, not gonna go out if I can help it, and I certainly am not going to wear a wool fisherman sweater. But come February, things might change. So that's kind of what I'm talking about. So utilize these tools in that way. Okay. So I'm going to unshare, stop sharing. Oh, and I'm back. Yay. Okay. So normally I use the animal cards, but Spirit, I kept wanting to use them, and Spirit was like, no, you're going to use Michelle Bonilla's cards. So one of my friend clients, Michelle Bonilla, who is a freaking amazing, fucking amazing practitioner. I got to sort through all the things here because these are not cards. These are cards. These are like acknowledgement, first few pages of the book cards. Anyway, so these are the what are these called again? Shit. Okay. Oh, from the four here. There we go. From the Four Corners Oracle by Michelle Bonilla and Sylvie Brewster. Now, Michelle Bonilla is in Puerto Rico. She is a Reiki master. She's got let's see, about the artist, I am this is her street cred, wall cred, whatever you want to say. Anyway, she's amazing. I love her to pieces. And she made this deck, and Spirit said, you're going to use this. And I was like, okie dokie. So we're going to use this to do our card layout. Now, how do I do this? How do I do cards? I haven't done this in a while, so let me share with you. So usually what I do is I clear them by knocking. You can clear them by putting a selenite wand on top if you want to, or using my friend Alicia Mastrangelo, who is here with us today live, her energy clearing spray. You can get that at Live It, Love It Wellness. And I still have not experimented with putting it in the mister, but because I need to buy more. But anyways, you can use it in a um, where they put the thingy that blows it up in the air, whatever that's called. Anyways, it's great and it's sage free. So if you're allergic to sage, it's perfect and it's lovely and it smells great. So you can spray all kinds of things. Anyway, so here we go. And then I shuffle. I don't do Vegas shuffle because these cards are ginormous. So we'll just shuffle them. And then when Spirit tells me good, we'll lay out 6 cards and see what they have to say. Okay. Okay. Let's see. So I'm going to lay them out here. Can I get this? So I hope that I don't push my computer off the desk. Let's see. It's still this one. Okay. 2. Okay. 3. You. Oh, that's funny. It even looks like a Virgo sign. That's funny. Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, these are beautiful. Okay. Cool. So, anyway, if you would like the deck for this, message me because I'm not sure that Michelle Bonilla has a website. I had to email her to get mine. Anyway, okay. So anyway, these cards don't do upside down. They're all always, no matter how they show up, fate right side up. So there is no like upside down meaning and all that. So, what opportunity will this Mercury retrograde bring into your awareness as a collective? What leads you? What leads you? And the back of the card says, when all else fails, go back to basics and lead with compassion. It's your soul's gift to the world. Remember, compassion always starts with you. So, the biggest lesson that will bring into your awareness is leading with the heart. Where am I showing up and I'm not leading with my heart? Because, and it's so funny because I always say, humanity currently in the societal programming teaches you how to think. It tells you lots of things that you think. Remember? And it's funny, Libra is air and Virgo is earth. So we may be pushing up against our thinking and we need to reprogram our thinking to manifest more compassion into the earth. So again, what leads you? And also this kind of what popped into my head, Spirit gave me just now is the Gandhi quote of be the change that you want to see in the world. And if what you keep saying to yourself is, oh, people are such a pain in the ass, or I wish everybody would just be kind. It all starts with us. So even if you're driving down the road and the person cuts you off, it's more like, where can I lead from compassion instead of being you stupid fucker? It has to be much more, mm, okay, bless you with love because you obviously need it. Okay, so leading from compassion, that's going to be kind of the opportunity, inviting this into your awareness. So it'll always be the whole basis of the balance in service itself is starting from a place of compassion is the only way to be. Now, here's funny. What energy will this Mercury retrograde bring? Deep down, your soul speaks. Deep down, your soul speaks to you, sending you signs. There is work to do. Well, duh, it's Mercury retrograde. So she calls to you. Why do you not listen? Your soul waits to be addressed and acknowledged. The more you ignore her, the more her screams will show up in your body and connect with your soul and receive her messages because it's time. So, what energy will this bring? So there may be signs. Yet again, you can't make this shit up. So this is here saying this retrograde will bring, we're talking about balance, right? Thought into manifestation, but balance in service to self. If we are thinking too much instead of being heart centered, a lot of times We don't listen to our soul. So again, stay in the heart center. And when stuff happens, listen to your soul. And now I was talking about earlier, when stuff feels out of whack, ask yourself, where is it out of balance? What life compartment is out of balance? And where can I lead with my heart first? Okay. And then, what lessons do I need to review during this Mercury retrograde? Ground yourself. Oh, well, duh. So, since we're going to be flying all over the place and it's an air sign to start with, and you're floating all over, time to ground. Step away from the thing called life to kiss the earth. Let your hair get dirty, your feet get muddy as you ground yourself and reconnect with nature. Isn't that an awesome, awesome artwork? Um, as a Virgo, I'm like, let your hair get dirty. Oh, girl, no. But I get it. More let your hair get messy. Stick your head out the window. Be more playful. Go out and remember what it was like to be a child where you didn't have video games all the time and you didn't have your phone all the time. Go out and like hug a tree, connect with with nature. Maybe cook for yourself. Do something. Get your hands dirty in the garden as you're harvesting. Since we're in the fall here in this, in the upper hemisphere. If you're in the southern hemisphere, if you're one of my New Zealanders or Aussies, maybe get your hands dirty as spring approaches, as you're planting seeds versus harvesting them. But go outside and ground, be one with the dirt. I mean, I was reading some research the other day, and I think many of you guys know this. There are so many antidepressants just in dirt alone, and our skin is our largest organ. So that's why when we touch things, things permeate into our system, both energetically from the earth herself, but also from a 3D perspective. So it is one of the best things you can do. Walk around barefoot outside if you can. Get in that garden. Go sit and eat an apple or your lunch under a tree if you can get outside. Stop being under those fluorescent lights all the time. They suck. But reconnect in nature. So this is what we would need to do is again reconnecting, right? So if we lead with compassion, we listen to our soul, and then reconnect to self. And how, as collective, we reconnect to the higher self of collective. We reconnect to Gaia, that which births us, and yet we are still a part of, we are one with, even though it feels separate. Go be one with, okay? So that is what needs to be reviewing reconnection. And then what lessons need more reworking during this Mercury retrograde? Oh, girl, lifetimes. Look at that. That's funny to me. Because it is, now we're switching. So this is our third card. So I see this kind of, I was like, oh, we're switching into Virgo. Okay, sweet. Um, your soul has lived many lifetimes. So why is it that you decide to play small in this lifetime? Why can't you remember? You are meant for greatness. It's time to remember your soul contract and your purpose. So thoughts becoming things. Let's start bringing forth now that you have reconnected with your compassion, leading with compassion, listening to the soul purpose, listening to the soul, that small inner voice, grounding yourself in both that which is you, that which is earth, that which is higher self, and then also now bringing all of that stuff into manifesting it into the 3D, so that, or the 5D, as it were, as we're ascending, but bring all that stuff forth because you're ready now. So this is that second half of retrograde, right? And then, oh, I love this because there's music and froggies and all the things, but the whole card is funny. It says, what am I not seeing or, okay, you guys, it's funny. What am I not seeing or ignoring that I need to focus my awareness on? Swallow the frog. Swallow the frog. But I get it, okay? And the music notes are, like singing, vagus nerve, all this kind of stuff. So, is it hard to use your words? I've had several close friends say, "Oh, people just will not shut the fuck up," or "I don't even want to talk. I don't want to listen. I just want to be, and if it's musical, I want to hear it." Clear the frog from your throat and finally speak your truth. Do what you know in your heart is right. Take a deep breath and sing your truth. And then at the bottom it says ribbit. um, but I find that really interesting that we have feeling and really kind of embodying this idea of the first half of it, which is the balance that needs to be addressed is really kind of getting back to that embodiment of what leads me, and it really needs to be compassion to get anywhere that feels good. And then the way that we do that is we listen to our soul, that inner small voice that guides our purpose, and then grounding ourselves. Because sometimes we get a little floaty when we do that. So, grounding yourself as we shift into the earth energy, but understanding that you still are a spiritual being engaging as one and also as individual with earth. And then I love the whole like, remember who you are. Remember that you were meant for greatness as we shift into bringing those things into a 3D world and then speaking the truth about that. Because a lot of times what happens is we get a little bit scared when the shit gets real about bringing stuff in, fear of success, fear of failure. Let it go. Speak your truth. Be direct. Be assertive, compassionately. Especially, remember I said be direct. Don't mess around in your communications. Be direct. Speak your truth. Take that deep breath. Because here's the thing: when you start speaking, after you come from, you kind of plant these seeds of balance and love and compassion and tapping into that soul purpose while also grounding, and then coming and saying, "What are all of my lessons that I have learned? What do I need? Where's the wisdom I need to bring forth?" And then speaking the truth. You can't speak with harm. Okay. I think a lot of times people think, oh, if I speak my truth, people are going to get pissed. Well, they can get pissed, but as long as you're speaking in this way, that's on them. It's not on you. Okay. You're just speaking truth and saying, this is how I feel. How you feel is not wrong. Okay. So understand that, clear that frog out of your throat and let's do this, because a lot of times that's what you ignore. We ignore or we don't see that we're kind of going along doing our thing. And yeah, we're doing all the things, but I'm not expressing it. I'm compartmentalizing it. I'm saying, oh, well, while I'm by myself, I'll do all the things. But while I'm with others, I'm going to play small so that they feel better. Time to stop that. No more. I know it's a fear trigger, but no more. Okay. And then what inspired actions can I take to have a grateful Mercury retrograde? Knowing you are enough, loving yourself. No matter what has happened, the truth is you are absolutely and unconditionally enough for the universe exactly as you are. Talk about a lovely gratitude that is. Gratitude, infinite love and gratitude right there. You are enough. You are enough. The inspired action isn't so much a going out and building or doing. It's a feeling. This entire thing, this entire time period is about getting out of your head and into your body, your emotional body, into your heart center, and feeling all of this, doing all of this. I mean, this collectively says to me, you know, on the individual level, the up here level, or up here, where we're going to start, thoughts become things. So we're going to have thoughts. What leads me? Oh, I really ought to refocus what leads me into compassion instead of fear. Okay. And then clarifying that, right? Navigating, listening to my soul, listening to that communication from source energy into the third eye, where it opens up and you can understand what it means, your downloads, and accepting the downloads, letting the soul speak to you. And then while doing that, kind of get into the heart center, get into that root chakra, ground yourself into, we chose to be here, got to stay in the human and experience while all of this is also going on. Then the lifetimes, what lifetimes? Here, and in your solar plexus, your heart again, in the solar plexus, what lifetimes? What have I learned? Who am I? I'm certain in self, solar plexus. Maybe it's even the sacral chakra of what have I created and what am I supposed to create? Your sacral. Okay. And then swallowing the frog, throat, opening that shit up, getting rid of the crap of not being able to express yourself more fully and speaking your truth in service to yourself and your boundaries and what you need, so that all of these start balancing up. And then in doing all of that, because a lot of times the reason we don't create balance and are out of service to ourselves and try to create balance through being more and more of service to others, creating more and more exhaustion, creating more and more, um, sometimes resentment, sometimes just all of that stuff, because instead of being in service to self first and then to others second, so that we are always able to fill our cup and then pour it out, usually that's based in not feeling like we're good enough. So, the ultimate inspired action is to focus on reminding yourself how wonderful and beautiful and miraculous and loved you are, and that the universe sees you as good enough exactly how you are. Okay. So, that is the Mercury retrograde reading for the collective. So, we went through in the beginning, what does the painting look like? The Bob Ross painting was all that first part. This reading was the weather for the collective. And now, below in the blurby thing down there, um, are links to receive, or to for you if you would like to. It's an invitation, it's an offer, for you to receive my spiritual, practical, and no BS guide to how to thrive through any Mercury retrograde cycle, where you will get the guidebook, you'll get the spread that I showed you, you'll get a little couple of pages of journaling questions to kind of go a little deeper, and you'll have a link that if you did want to book a session with me, that's additional. But if you did want to say, I need a little bit more help, you can do that. Um, but the link is below. Also, just a quick reminder, new moon is, I believe, Saturday. I haven't really looked at it. I think it's in Virgo. I haven't really addressed any of that. So that's coming. So time to make sure. And Virgo, again, look at the energy of the sign it's in. New moon is all about planting seeds, setting intentions, setting the ball rolling, and Virgo is Earth, so setting the ball rolling of bringing stuff into the experience, and how we're going to do that through um, analyzation, attention to detail, nurturing, being of service. And again, it all relates back to you. So all for self and feeling good in that space. But that's just a quickie. We'll talk about that maybe later. But, anyways, so if you haven't subscribed to this channel, if you love this and you want to see more of these, because it is my intention to be here more often than I have been in recent months. Um, Go ahead and subscribe, hit the bell. It'll send you a little email when I'm live, and you can join me or watch the replays. Also, my website, soulcoachstudio.com. I have added these new guides. I'll be adding a new moon one and a full moon one coming soon. I haven't drafted them yet, so they will come soon. They may not be for this moon, but it might be for the other moons. So those are going to be called the Cosmic Manifesting. I think it's called Cosmic Manifesting Series or something like that. And then also there are classes. All of our master classes are recorded and put up there. Also, next Tuesday, so today is what, the 22nd, 3rd, whatever, August, whatever. So next Tuesday, the first Tuesday in September, no, 2 Tuesdays, my bad, 2 Tuesdays from in September. What day is that anyway? Let me look really quick just so I have it. Bum, bum. Here it is. Tuesday, September 6th. Be helpful if I know what the hell's going on. Tuesday, September 6th at 11:30 a.m. Central Time. I will be teaching a class on Zoom. So we will all be getting together. It won't be like this. It'll be all of us kind of in a virtual classroom talking all about using the Ho'oponopono to support your manifesting practices, and why it's important, and how it is part of the energetic healing protocol that will help you to stay centered, balanced, and create some really great manifesting stuff. So that's on the 6th. If you can't make it, you can always grab it and have a replay and all the materials. And I will also be putting that up on the website. So if you see this, say next year or something, you want to look at past retrogrades or whatever, and you see this, you can always go back and grab that off the website there too. Anyways, I think that's it. Let me see. Let me double check. That little note card. Very 1980s. Because it's also neon. Let's see, blah, 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 blah. I did all the things. Check, check, check. Okay, awesome. So remember, this retrograde is all about balance. Where am I out of balance? Where can I be more in service to myself by creating more balance, renovating, and looking at all of my relationships so that I can create more balance in those relationships for myself. Okay. I love you so much. I will see you soon. If you need me, go ahead and message me. If you want to leave a comment below, I would love that. And other than that, I hope that You have a wonderful Mercury retrograde that is super healing for you, and I will see you soon. And until then, I will see you in the vortex. Oh, and if you want to get these replays, if you miss any of these, make sure you sign up for the newsletter. Okay, that's all. Have a great rest of your week. I love you all so much. Mwah, mwah. Bye-bye now. Bye.